this is episode 1 of our Four Lifters by Lifters podcast, and we have natural bodybuilder. Is that what you classify yourself
I
as?
class myself as a natural bodybuilder. Professional natural bodybuilder,
Professional,
actually.
yeah. I guess it's a long time debate on if pro cards matter. And
Yeah, that is a debate. Yeah, because I did.
Probably gonna
We'll
make
get
some
into
people
it.
mad. Yeah.
We'll get into it, but I did win my pro card at my first competition ever. So that might segue into like, does a pro card really matter?
Yeah, a lot of our athletes that are natural, specifically the women, have the same thing. They first show pro. I think Nikki went to her first Yorton Cup.
Mm-hmm.
She won that. Where do you go from there?
Yeah,
Like,
I think
what's
you go.
left? Like,
I think you got to go to the NPC.
Yeah, but then you're in a if you want to be a lifetime natural athlete, like how do you go to doing drugs?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's just it's a tough decision for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And even if you were to get your IFBB card, it doesn't guarantee a payday either.
No.
So you're putting your body at risk, and it's just it's a tough decision for people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but
You want to do? We started on a different path.
yeah.
So my name is Patrick. How about we start there? My name is Patrick. I work for Core Nutritionals, but we're here to talk about me as a bodybuilder, possibly. So I am a competitive natural bodybuilder. I just got off a season last year, competed as a pro, and so 2019, I won my pro card in 2013. But yeah, I think you said, like, where do you go? I think ultimately everybody needs to realize that bodybuilding is not a segue to a payday. It really isn't. It can be, but in my eyes, it shouldn't be the reason why you do it.
Yeah, but when we're growing up and stuff, and you're going through magazines, and you see, the guy with the big muscles in the sports car, and he's in he's in Miami. Like, when you start bodybuilding, like, are you chasing just a look for yourself, or are you chasing a lifestyle?
Well, for me, it started as a look.
Yeah.
I was a football player. I was a lineman. I was the chunky guy. I just needed to eat double lunch and get strong so I could play football. And then when I realized in college, if I eat canned chicken and salsa all day, I can get abs. So then it turned into an aesthetics thing for me. So that was my transformation into that. And then I was a competitive person, and then I had sports, but then didn't have sports any longer. So the competition aspect of the physique sport is what drove me towards actually competing.
So why didn't you go into something more performance-based? I mean, you're how old?
29. I'll be 30 actually in a week or two.
Okay, so I'm 30. I'll be 31 soon. But, CrossFit wasn't really popular when we finished high school.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really around. I always say if CrossFit was as prominent as it is now, when we got done high school, it's probably something I would have done just
Right.
because of competitive nature.
Right.
And it's extremely competitive in so many different ways. But why didn't you go into more like powerlifting or strongman? I mean, you have a little bit of height to you. Why'd you go into bodybuilding?
It just wasn't introduced, I guess, to me when I started. So the weightlifting program was introduced, in football.
Yeah.
So we were trying to get stronger. We did the 1 rep max thing. So it wasn't really like powerlifting. It was just trying to get strong for football. And then when I went to college, just somebody introduced me to bodybuilding.com and actually Lane Norton.
Yeah.
It's funny enough. So like I didn't even follow IFBB bodybuilding. Like I knew who Ronnie Coleman was after I got into it a little bit, but like I didn't really pay attention to like the magazines and the big guys.
Right.
For me, it was, to be honest with you, it was a little bit of insecurity, and I wanted to look a certain way. So that's for me, and I loved weightlifting. I loved just being in the gym. So for me, I wanted to look a certain way, and I loved being in the gym. So then it just evolved into like the physique aspect of it. So it didn't really, and then it was a competitive nature with myself more than it was trying to get to a platform or something.
But I have this conversation with a lot of people that come into our stores. Do you think that you took a performance attitude when it came to bodybuilding, though?
Yes.
Like you're not. I watch you and Doug train sometimes when you guys are traveling,
Yeah.
and you guys aren't doing like pump and squeeze stuff.
No.
Like you guys are lifting heavy weight and you're doing a lot of volume. It's definitely not powerlifting by any means, but like it's not your typical like pump and squeeze type stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a great question, and like I guess I think ultimately it's just like how you were. For me, it was how I was introduced to it. So I was introduced to bodybuilding by a friend. I was introduced to Lane, and then it just became an obsession. And then I have that drive within me to do things the best that I can, and with all that I can do. And so I was driven towards bodybuilding, or kind of pushed there, and then just me naturally, I didn't want to do pump and squeeze. I wanted to push myself hard, you
Right.
know. So, and then it just evolved through that,
we see like a lot of guys that come in and say that they're not, maybe getting the results that they want. You go through their diet and it's pretty good, but like you go through their training and they still can't bench like 225 for multiple reps and stuff, and they never had like just a period of time where they just focus on getting stronger. Did you do that when you first started?
Not really.
No.
In weightlifting, I would do the 1 rep maxes, but then like I've never been a person to try to max out or just do like a couple reps. Like,
But have you ever set like goals? Like, let's say you bench, you were 20, you bench 225
Yeah.
for 5. Did you ever say like in 6 months I need to be able to do this for 10?
I did, but I didn't. Like, I remember one specifically is incline bench for 225 in college.
Okay.
Like, I really wanted to be able to incline bench 225 pounds. So, like, I remember that goal specifically. But for me, I've always just gotten high off of going in the gym and just beating my body till I can't move anymore, and then going to recover. Like, that's been my satisfaction. Like,
So when you go into the gym, you're not like set on a certain amount of reps with a certain weight. You're more concerned about just the overall taxation of the muscle.
pretty much.
Okay.
I kind of I've tried a lot of different programs, and for me, it always like I've had coaches write me programs, and then now when I did a prep last, he just did my diet, and I do my training.
Okay.
I know what split that I want to follow, and I know what I'm going to train that day. So like say it's the night before a quad day, and so I know I'm going to hit quads primarily. I might in my mind pick the first 2 exercises, and then I'll start, but like if it's not feeling right, then I'm going to take a different direction. So I really try to do it instinctually and kind of listen to my body, especially now because I have had a back injury, and if I'm not paying attention to that, then it just makes things worse. So I know what I'm going to train, but I don't know exactly the rep schemes or even the movements that I'm going to do. So and then I just go into the gym, get my mind right, and then kind of let it take me where it's going to take me.
What do you think about like coaching in general? Like I know that you use a coach for prep, and that without a doubt, I think that's undisputable. That has its place. But what do you think about just the mass coaching and people kind of picking up on coaches from the beginning? Like you had a period where you kind of I guess you probably failed a lot in the beginning, right? Like you set goals, you wanted to look a certain way, you failed, you reverted, and you found a way, and that kind of probably built your base up a little bit.
Yeah.
But like, what do you think about? How important do you think that time period is when you first start training?
I think
I know it's a loaded question.
it's
Like,
loaded and it's tough to answer. I think in general, if you want to take something to like if you want to take working out to the extreme of competition, I think it is very important, especially in your first time, to use a coach.
Okay.
I do believe that because, and then another reason why I believe in coaching is because I'm, like I could have done my prep without a coach easily. I could have just used people that are in my circle, send you some pictures, how am I doing, cool, but it takes my mind off of, like I just need somebody to put the plan in place, and then I just follow that plan besides the training part, and then and then I just send the check-ins, and he makes the changes, and then I just follow it. It just takes my mind, because then I'm not a full-time bodybuilder. I have a job, so like I want to focus on my job, So
Right.
if I'm obsessed about the hobby that I have all the time, it's going to take away from other things. So it just takes the thinking away. And I think as a new competitor, I think it is important to use a coach, because it is brand new, and they could be instrumental in you getting started and leading you to the right way.
Yeah.
Now,
So
after that being said, I do think it has turned into a business that might not be the most truthful business out there. There are coaching, they're just trying to give you a plan, take your money, and move on. Not everybody's getting an individualized plan anymore because it is so viral.
yeah, I also feel like back when I started powerlifting, I was 19, 20. At the time, like coaching wasn't really a thing. Like we didn't have a team coach. I had a guy who was going for his doctorate to work at NASA teach me how to read Prilepin's table and program. He gave me a 1 hour, breakdown while we were drinking some beers, and that was it. Like that was all the coaching that I ever had. But because of that, and because I've tried so many different things, it just taught me a lot about the body, about my body specifically. And I feel like that's stuff that you can't always get when you're buying a coach.
Yeah.
And then you also have to assume that your coach has the knowledge base to know why certain things work and why they don't work. Whereas, what I see is that a lot of people have they have success doing things one way, and that's the way that they have everybody do things.
Yeah.
Which is what you were saying with individualized programs.
Yeah.
But
well, and I think so. I've used 2 coaches, and I think it is. If I do it again, I might use somebody else. I do think it's important to if you are going to always use a coach, vet other coaches too, right? Like knowledge is power. Learn another way to do things. You know, because the first coach I had was not so much a meal plan guy, but he was very much specific foods.
okay.
Where this second time around, I knew that I was going to be traveling like crazy. I knew that I was in China at one point. Like I was just all over the place. So I needed somebody that really understood that I needed to be flexible,
Right.
and work with that. And then the first prep was only like 20 weeks. Well, it was 20 weeks, which seems like a lot to some people. And then the last one I did was like 42 weeks over the span of it. So I wanted to try that approach instead of like a shortened prep.
So the longer one was more flexible?
The longer one was more flexible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that why it was longer? Is because you were more flexible?
I think the idea behind the length of the prep was to preserve muscle and to implement more time, but also implement the diet breaks. So instead of just constantly going down and then you get your one refeed, going down and get your one refeed, it was more like going down and then let's break, and then for a week you're on refeed macros.
Okay.
And just because you have time, but let's keep you full. Let's keep all the muscle that you can. And I think that truly did help, because the first prep, I was smaller. I didn't have as much muscle, but I was stringy. I felt like I was stringy, and I couldn't fill out as much. Whereas the second prep that I've done 3, but the last one that I did, I felt a lot fuller throughout the whole prep, but also at the end result.
Was it easier having it longer? Just because you were in like one mindset for a longer period of time?
I don't know if it's easier or not. But the first, you say 40 weeks, but literally the first 12 to 20 weeks didn't feel like I was prepping.
It was just cutting out like bad habits?
It was just cutting out. Yeah, it was just tracking.
Okay.
I was just back to like tracking, and and I was barely doing any cardio at that point. It was just the start of it. So, but then the last leg of it, the last 20 weeks,
was dying.
I was like, I'm ready for this to be over. 40 weeks was a lot.
When I know that you have a coach that kind of implements a plan, and that plan is specific on how you look, your age, if you have injuries, and all these other things that they look at. But as a general thought, do you have any like diet types that you tend to prefer? Like maybe not for prep, but maybe if let's say you're at 15% body fat, you want to cut down to closer to 10. It's close to summertime. Are you like a keto guy? Are you a high carb low fat guy? Do you like carb cycling? Like, is there anything that kind of you just feel like it works for the general public more than anything else, or for yourself?
I'm just a balanced guy. Like, I just keep it balanced. I've done carb cycling in one prep, and I was successful there. But this time I didn't do that. It was the same macros every single day, even on off days.
Okay.
So I used to be a personal trainer, so I've given advice too. And to me, it's just trying to find a balance between all of it. Like, I don't believe in, if you're an athlete, I really don't believe in keto. I do believe carbohydrates around the workout can be beneficial. So for me, say if I did want to lose the weight, I would just, in my balanced diet, I would start tracking my macronutrients, and then I would start cutting them back from there. I really don't overthink it too much. I keep it pretty simple and just keep it balanced. My carbohydrate, fat, and protein intake is probably like a 40% carb, 40% protein, 20% fat, kind of normal, standard, get you started diet.
Yeah.
So I'm not really on the extreme spectrums, high or keto or whatever there's these extreme diets. I kind of just stay in the middle of more of a balanced diet.
So you think, ultimately, what it feels like you're saying is that just like consistency
and tracking your food.
Okay.
And at this point, like when coronavirus kind of started, I stopped tracking just because like it's an extra stress. I was out of my reverse was done. I dropped my coach, and I was like, I know what I need to do at this point. So right now, I just kind of know what I need, and I weigh myself every other day, every day. And if I'm dropping weight, then okay, I need to eat something. If I'm gaining too fast, which I'm not, I'll cut it back a little bit. So now I just know what I need, and it's just consistency over time by kind of now I know I've been so consistent. Now I just kind of know what I need.
Yeah. So you said your first prep was 2014?
2013.
13. So that was before you started working for Nutrition Corner and Core and what's built into America and your other brands.
Yeah.
What supplements did you take then before you were in the industry?
I was a big Scivation guy back in those days. Bodybuilding.com is where I ordered when I was in college. Let's see, I can go through some of the Muscle Tech's pre-workout, NeuroCore.
Okay.
I was a big fan of NeuroCore. Controlled Labs Purple Wrath.
Is that their pump
I think it's
formula?
their amino.
Is that
no.
what it is?
Purple Wrath might have been their amino product.
Their name's off.
White Flood was their pre-workout.
Yeah.
I like that one. And then a Scivation 10-pound bag of whey protein for like $70 back then.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like what I was using. And then when I started prepping, my coach was actually a Scivation athlete. So like Extend was like a big thing for me. And I messed around with a couple different fat burners from I think VPX at the time. And then my second prep, I won my pro card. And then the next year I went to try to compete as a pro because they told you had to do it to keep your card, right? That's when I first started I took Core ABC, and I think I took Core Alpha or Core Hard during that prep. So in 2014, still before Doug, I did try Core products.
So with all the product knowledge and development knowledge that you guys have had, in the past years, growing both of your brands, what would you have done? Like, what would you have thrown in the pot back then?
Probably more like hormonal or around the prep products.
Okay.
So we do really well with Core Hard. It's an anti-cortisol product, right? Yeah. So back then, that level of fat loss really wasn't looked at as much. You know, so I probably would have utilized those products, or at 23, I probably don't need a test booster, but your hormones are taking a hit anyway, being in that deficit. So I probably would have utilized some different natural test boosters at the time. But yeah, so back then it was mainly just protein, aminos, pre-workouts, fat burners, things like that.
Yeah, I guess when we're younger, like we didn't really spend money on multivitamins and
No.
health conscious products. It was more of what's going to get me to where I want to be faster.
Right, the fun stuff.
So so that's all it was about. So what do you now that you're in the coronavirus pandemic and we're kind of semi shut down and the gyms are closed and stuff? What are you taking now to like keep your normalcy?
Everything, really. Like I keep my essentials pretty much the same. I've still I started a stack before it, and it's an 8-week stack, so
Not gonna stop.
I'm not going to stop it.
Fair.
I mean, like during prep, I'm big on like HMB and like a couple little things. Like I throw those things out when my body weight gets up, and
Okay.
so I took those things out. But for the most part, being in the industry, I love supplements. So
But you're still doing like your meal replacement shakes. You're still doing your core ISO after your workouts, and you have a new intro that just came out. Like you're using that for
I'm
training.
using that.
Yeah.
So I will say, okay, so we'll take that back. I'll because my schedule or routine changed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I changed up some because I was thinking more supplements, but sometimes I think of protein as food. So I switched up my pre-workout meal a little bit. So instead of doing an MRP sludge so that's 40 grams of carbs, 40 grams of protein, and then I would add blueberries, and then I would add cereal. So it'd be like a 70 to 80 gram carb pre-workout meal.
Okay.
And because I was working on, when I first started this, I was lifting suitcases in my basement, right? Like we didn't know what was going on. We were like, oh, this is cool. This will be a different challenge. And so I was like, I don't need a 80 gram carb pre-workout meal.
Yeah.
So I ate a 25 little gram, it's a vegan protein bar is what it's called. Grab the Gold. Have you heard of those? It's 25 grams of carbs and peanut butter pretty much. And then I would have an ISO shake with that.
Okay.
So something lighter. And then I would do, the intra, and then my post-workout changed a little bit. Instead of doing a shake, I would actually have rice and grinds or something and a protein, like a oatmeal protein or something. So I changed that up a little bit because my routine changed a little bit,
So your energy output was less because you're not
Right.
training at a gym.
Right.
So you cut your carbs, but you don't really want to lose weight, right?
Right.
So did you increase fats to make up the calorie content, or did you just because you're not exerting as much, you can just cut your energy?
Yeah, I just cut my energy and then just watched my weight or my body,
Okay.
and then just kind of decided where if I needed to add more, if I was losing too much, then I would, if this new approach was not working, then I would add more, But that I liked, and I still right now because I am training earlier. I train early, so I don't like a full meal.
Okay.
Like I don't like 80 to 100 grams of carbs pre-workout. But that last meal the night before, I might load a bunch of carbs.
Okay.
And my last meal the night before.
Are you doing carbs and fats to kind of delay?
Yeah.
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 Okay. As far as like training goes, do you prefer training in the morning like that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've tried the training at night, and for me, it's all a mental thing. So work doesn't turn off that often, So
Fair.
Like it's hard for me to leave at 6:00 and go to the gym when things are still trickling. So like I've been on the treadmill before at like 5:30, 6:00, and I get a call from West Coast or just get a call. Then the next thing you know, I'm on the treadmill for 20 minutes to having this phone call, and then my mind's not clear. So I can't focus on what I'm doing. So I've really, and I know it's probably better. I herniated my L4, L5. So this was 3 years ago, and I'm pretty much recovered. But for a while, I knew that training in the evening was better for my back. But
Because your body's warmer.
because your body's warmer, your spine's
like elongated,
decompressed a little bit more. But it's such a mental thing for me. I wake up, it's the only thing that's on my mind. No work has started yet, and I can get that done how I want to get it done. That's my time, and then work can be the rest of the day, if it needs to be, or family, So I've just always been a morning person, and so I wake up at 4:30 or 5 every day, and I'm after it,
So last year I spent most of the year training in the morning, and I just noticed like immediately the first thing you notice is that your strength is like 75%.
Yeah.
It doesn't you can eat a meal, it doesn't matter compared to having 5 meals and being
Yeah.
fully awake.
And your pumps aren't always aren't the same.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. That doesn't bother you at all. Like you just keep
No.
going through it.
It's because it's such mental clarity for me. That means the most.
Okay.
I still get. You're still gonna get. To me, I still think you're gonna. There might be like a small percent difference in maybe results, maybe, but to me, I still think you're ultimately gonna receive similar results. And it's just for me, it's a mental thing, and just I'm the morning guy.
So you said you do the pre-workout sludge, then you go train?
Yeah.
So you don't train fasted?
No.
Okay, because that seems to be like a trending thing right now.
Yeah.
It just never worked for you?
Nah, I don't like it.
Okay.
Yeah. Something. Like I said, that even if it's that ISO shake and that little meal replacement bar, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I something. Now we have the intra product. So if somebody is doing fasted, I try to recommend at least the supplementation to go with the fasted training.
Where your body can just kind of suck it up, right? As long as it's hydrated.
Right, and keep the muscle tissue, right? Like, let's not get into muscle tissue. Like, don't let your body get into burning, muscle. So, like, let's at least kickstart some protein synthesis, maybe get some fuel source from carbs in there through the cyclic dextrin and stuff like that. It works for some people, but I've always tried to eat before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, cardio, I'll do fasted.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many days a week are you training versus doing cardio?
Well, now I don't do any cardio. But I like 5 days a week.
Okay.
Is like my sweet spot. When I was in prep, cardio was just given at X amount of times per week at X amount of minutes.
Okay.
So then I would pick and choose how I do it. And for me, it's always been, I would just throw it in at the end of the workout because I didn't want to come back to the gym again.
Makes sense. And your workouts are an hour and 15?
Hour and a half.
Okay.
Probably
so you go
average.
a little bit longer.
Yeah, like an hour and a half. I like the window. I give myself an hour and a half to 2 hour window of time.
Okay.
So like, I know that if I get to the gym by 6:30 and I go till 8:30, I have 30 minutes to shower and get to work and start at 9. 9 to 5, whatever you call it. So I give myself that window of time. Whether it takes that long or it doesn't, I just try to give myself 2 hours a day to block out time for myself in training.
Okay, that's cool. So what's next for you, like as a bodybuilder, as an athlete?
So my wife and I competed together, and we make jokes a lot that never competing again, because we like to live,
Yeah.
I mean, it was 2019 was for both of us was dedicated completely to the craft of bodybuilding, the competition, so we started in January pretty much, and our last competition was the end of October. So it was pretty much all year. So this year, well, before now, we've been just having fun and going out to eat and going to breweries, and we like to live, so I don't know what's next. I will always be a bodybuilder. I train and eat the lifestyle, like that's just who I am.
Yeah.
And it's now that we have just some gym equipment in our warehouse, it's adamant that like I am a bodybuilder. I'm not supposed to like just do functional training. Like this makes me happy, So I will always live it. I don't know when the next competition is. I like the longer off seasons.
Like years?
It was 5 years for me from my first pro show to the last one I just did.
Okay.
And I made a lot of progress through that time.
Yeah.
So I do.
What was your stage weight difference?
Not much.
Really?
A couple pounds. I remember seeing that year 177. My lowest I think was 180. I never gotten below 180.
This past prep?
Okay,
so you're looking at 3 to 4 pound difference, but I think you were significantly leaner though, right?
Yeah.
This past one?
Yeah, just much more well-rounded. I was really lean my first pro time out.
Okay.
Kurt Widener was my coach. I don't know if you've heard. He's a kind of he's one of our athletes for core, and he's been in the natural bodybuilding scene for a long time in the WNBF. But his thing is conditioning, so he's always just bringing nasty conditioning. So we got lean, but I felt like I was stringy, right? Like I just maybe not full enough. So this time I felt like I brought that conditioning, but also had a lot more fullness to go with it.
I mean, 5 years gives you plenty of time to build that muscle, right? You know.
So I don't know. I'm going to compete again. I don't know when. I'd like to say the 3 to 5 year mark is probably what I don't. You know, want to start a family, want to do the life thing. So we'll see. You know.
What so one of the reasons why you're here is to drop off a bunch of new products that you guys are releasing through Core. Do you want to talk at all about those products and why you're excited about them?
Yeah, so I mean, this year is a complete rebrand for Core Nutritionals. So we used to have the black tub with the black label. It was carbon fiber with like a metallic print, and great labels. I had a special place in my heart. I was really apprehensive when Doug wanted to do a complete rebrand, but now I've fallen in love with it, and we've switched to a white tub with a white or lighter label, but it has like this hologram to it. So when you put in this light, it really shines and changes with the light. It's a really cool textured look.
Were the holograms like different per flavor? Did I see that? Like it was almost like the like the reflection kind of matched the flavor.
Yeah. So like
it's pretty cool.
Each like let's take ABC for example. ABC will have the 10 different flavors, and ABC the words are in different colors.
Okay.
Right, depending on the flavor. So then the hologram will be the same, but that change in the color of the print will make it change a little bit.
Okay.
It's a really cool look. So yeah, man. Ultimately, like I'm just excited about this year. I mean,
what about like the formulas? I mean, you guys just revamped Fury X. You just launched the pump. You just have the new Intra. We used to do really well with the Intra MD from John Meadows, and I think that this is essentially a higher dosed version of that.
Yeah.
You know, is there any of those products that you're the most like excited about to use like personally, like as a product?
Intra, I was actually really excited about.
Okay.
I've never been an intra workout guy. Like I never have been, but like now that I think about it, especially in an off season, and like, yeah, this is the perfect time to use this product. It uses cyclic dextrin, dextrose, and then D-ribose, which I think gets missed in this category a lot. People have been, even I hear people talking about our product, I'm like, man, you got to go into D-ribose and how like it helps, you know, elevate ATP. Like it's something different that, you know, like it's not in a lot of, it's old school. But it's missed a lot now. And it has the glycerol from Glycer size, I think, now instead of Glycer pump.
Yep.
And then beta-alanine's in there and your full EAAs. So that one's one that we definitely I was excited about. So
I mean, that when I was looking over the formula, like you don't need anything else.
You don't.
Like you don't need to stack it with ABC. Like a lot of companies are coming out with like a half dose product with another half dose product because they want you to stack both to get the full complete dosing. But this isn't that type of product. Like you just one serving and go and just enjoy your training. Back to D-ribose, I have a mini story about that.
Okay.
When I was taking it, we had an emergency issue with our water at my house, and I had to dig a 53-foot trench. And it was 3.5 feet deep, and I dug it with a shovel. It took me 18 hours. And but I was obsessed with taking my creatine, my Elevate, and D-ribose at the time. And I dug that trench, no breaks, nothing. Woke up the next day, no sore.
Really?
Like no soreness whatsoever. I felt amazing, and I just went on with my life.
That's awesome.
And I fully attribute it to taking D-ribose.
How was your hands? Were they torn up?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Yeah, I don't shovel every
I
day,
can
so they're
imagine.
not, they're not quite built for it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's cool.
yeah, my back was, I think, bothering me the most because
Yeah,
you're standing 3.5 feet higher than you're shoveling.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but yeah, I think it's largely overlooked as an ingredient to help with endurance athletes. You know, I think even CrossFit athletes, like that's one of the first things they should be looking at, but for whatever reason they just kind of steer away from it.
Yeah.
But I think it can be a huge advantage to them as far as recovery and performance goes.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
yeah.
but-
Yeah, I mean, excited about that one. And, I mean, the whole rebrand was an opportunity just to get better, right? So, like, you look at your flagship products like ABC, okay, don't touch it, right? So some things are not getting touched at all. But then it was like an opportunity to like, well, this product's been around forever. Let's make it better, because we have the we're making a new label. Everything has new SKU numbers. I don't know if that's going to mess up your inventory system, but
okay, we'll fix it.
Yeah, but it was an opportunity to look at our products and be like, we can get better here, so let's do it.
So that's what you guys, and I think you're referring to like Core Pro, where you change the flavors,
right?
New label, like it's almost a new product.
It's a new product.
Yeah,
it's got the same name,
right?
But it's a new. It's weird to say formula and a protein, but it really is.
Yeah, because it's a blend of different.
It's a blend of different proteins, and we made it transparent instead of we just listed what proteins were in it. Now we tell you what grammage you're getting from each protein, so it's a transparent. And then proteins come a long way, even in a couple years. Flavors are phenomenal now.
Crazy.
And Pro was, not to say it was a bad tasting protein, because the chocolate and peanut butter I loved.
Peanut butter banana.
Peanut butter, yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just now it's flavor is over the top.
Okay.
So we just took the opportunity to try to really again revisit the flavors. So that's what it's been about all this year. And we got more stuff coming. We're getting into categories that we weren't in before, like the intra, the greens. We're doing a vegan product, which we never thought we would do.
Did you want to talk about the greens at all?
Yeah.
It is a different formula. I was looking at it the other day. We have it in the boxes, I think, behind us.
Yeah.
So what made you guys, obviously it's a big market right now, but what made you guys formulate it that way?
Well, what's that way?
Well, I mean, it's a reds and greens product, right?
Yeah.
So
it's not. It's got reds in it from Spectra, which is a patent antioxidant blend.
Okay.
So that's where I guess the reds would come from, is the antioxidants in that. And then we went with True Serve, which is a patent, I guess greens, like it's got broccoli or kale. I forget which one. So it's like a heavy there.
Okay.
And then you have your spirulina. We put psyllium husks in it.
Okay.
So I mean it's fully loaded. I think it's like, I forget the total grammage in just greens alone. But that's kind of our nature anyway, is to always fully dose what's in the product.
Yeah, I do feel like when people formulate greens products, they try to formulate a greens product, right? And then when I looked at the label, what I feel like you guys formulated is the end result. And then you kind of reverse engineer the end result, because a lot of people don't, when you take a greens product, you're taking it for digestive health, right? But nobody else is really adding fiber into their products, right? So you guys are adding the fiber already in there, and you're trying to, what it looks like, at least from my end, is that you guys are making a digestive health product, not necessarily a greens product.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Is that kind of the goal?
Yeah, but complete, comprehensive.
Yeah.
Right. In the realm of digestive health, getting phytonutrients in, like that was, we wanted to make a complete, comprehensive product.
Right.
So that was so you're right. I mean, the reds, the greens, the fiber aspect of it, the probiotic aspect of it,
right. Yeah.
And then the biggest thing for us was tastes. And people use greens, and they feel like when they're messing with the greens or a vegan based product, they really need to attract that, I don't know, that lifestyle maybe. And a lot of that lifestyle doesn't like artificial sweeteners.
Yeah.
So they'll sweeten it with stevia or monk fruit, but at the end of the day, 99% of our customers don't mind using sucralose. So our big goal here was to make one of the best tasting greens products on the market. So we threw sucralose in it, and it is fun. It's getting rave reviews about how good it tastes.
It's something you can actually enjoy.
So it might, there's an argument that it might not get us in front of maybe a new customer that might only want,
more like the earthy type product,
right? Like a stevia-based product, but I just don't think that's who we are, So our vegan product will also be sweetened with sucralose as well.
Okay. And that'll be coming out soon, months to come.
We're kind of in a tentative schedule right now, and I think June was the goal for that. It's labels are getting worked on right now. I mean we were on a stretch of every 2 weeks. It was new. There was a new product coming out every 2 weeks, and now it's going to slow down a little bit. Like we launched Pump this week, and then it's going to be like probably 2.5 to 3 weeks to the next release. So it's going to start to slow down a little bit, but yeah, We have ISO, which is switched into a 2-pounder and a 5-pounder instead of the 3. We have MRPs getting actually mixed a little bit, or changed up a little bit.
Okay.
We're adding a specific vitamin and mineral blend to that. What else is it? We're launching vegan. We have a nootropic coming out this year. Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot with, those are the new stuff, but you're also revamping stuff like Fury X and, like you said, the ABC, you have new flavors. So I think, when you look at all the different things that you guys have going on right now, it's a lot of stuff. And, unfortunately, we're kind of in a weird place with the pandemic.
Yeah.
I'm sure that put a damper on a lot of companies' plans, but, no doubt, if you have a good product, it's when things open back up, it's going to sell.
Yeah.
So,
and we've been saying that, like, we don't want to, it sounds kind of bad to say maybe this is saving our company, the new stuff. And then it's also interesting to think, well, because we're doing well, through this, because we do have so much new stuff going on. It's like, what would it actually have done without the pandemic?
Yeah,
so
you can't train your brain not to think that way.
Right, you can't not think that way,
Yeah.
but like we're choosing that, like what we're doing is moving us right now, and we're doing really well.
Yeah.
And it's just really fun, like I'll be honest with you, last year during prep, and this is where prep can take over like your work life, like your own personal life. Like I was not super motivated to go to work and sell, I just wasn't. I was just tired,
Yeah.
and I wasn't, but as soon as we switched to this, and I'm fatter, I'm not, it's given me so much motivation and excitement to be a part of this and like to go out and sell it. So it's been a lot of fun for us this year.
Yeah, it's good. We're excited to have all the products, sitting behind us now.
Yeah.
So by the time you guys are watching this, we'll have them in the store. Is there anything else you want to leave our customers with? Is there anywhere they can follow you on, Instagram?
I am Meaty Thighs on Instagram. It's meaty_thighs_. So yeah, I keep it real on my Instagram. I'm not an influencer or anything like that. I keep it pretty real. You'll see me drinking a beer, and you'll see me training a lot, and we do a lot of silly stuff at the core warehouse. And lately, it's been equipment acquiring, and we're building out a gym. So I've been driving the box truck a lot. But yeah, I don't know.
It's that's the other reason why Pat's here is he actually just delivered a hammer strength V squat to our warehouse. So thankful that he's here today.
And hopefully, once you guys get this decked out, we'll come back and get a training session in.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to have to teach Doug how to train. Though.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
All right, Pat. Thanks.
Hey man, no problem. Thank you.